Hey, hi everybody. Mark Layzell from Legacy Matters. Can you see my screen? If you give me a thumbs up or something if you can, that's perfect. That's good. Thank you so much. So Mark Layzell from Legacy Matters. Just a quick introduction today about what we do, a little bit of background about myself, and how we can help people and what we look to do. So general introduction. I start off with these two pictures to begin with. I know you don't know who this is, but this is a picture of my mum and dad. They are the reason that I do what I do with Legacy Matters, because unfortunately both my parents passed away before I was 18. Don't have a lot of luck in all departments, but we can't tell the cards that are dealt to us sometimes. Luckily, we were in a situation after my dad died that my mum took some good advice and got things protected in a trust, which is half the reason that I am where I am at the moment. Because being 18 and having some money, I would have lost most of it with various people in different situations. But I'm not going to get too much into that. But I'm sure you can see that things are different. So a little bit about me. So first business was when I was 10. I'm a bit of a serial entrepreneur, but my dad died when I was 11. Now remember, that's lots of kind of times looking at why we do what we do, working all of our life and then go into retirement. Neither of my parents really made it to that point, so you kind of work harder without enjoying things. So I was always up for doing things slightly differently. Say my mum died when I was 17, so before I turned 18. So say a bit of a serial entrepreneur. I've been involved in property since the 1990s. So I've got a few different businesses. Moved to Cambridge in 1999, which where I am now. Was Essex boy originally. Still, you can take the boy out of Essex, as they say. And a couple of other things. Worked with Stephen Hawking, who most of you I'm sure would have heard of. So worked with him for about 10 years or so. And that's my little girl, Lily. Believe it or not, I know I don't look any different in this picture for what I do now, but she literally turned 16 on Monday. So believe it or not, so that picture was 16 years ago, which is quite weird and scary. But there we go. Couple of my other kind of hobbies and bits about me. I love to jump out of planes. It's one of my favorite pastimes, and I am the most relaxed when I'm jumping out of a plane ever, which is kind of weird, I know, but there we go. I like to play with big trucks in the jungle, so do off-roading. That's actually a picture of our competition truck in the Malaysian rainforest. So I've done some international competitions there, and I used to row a hell of a lot. So I used to be an awful lot fitter than I am now, but that's one of my good crews. So I've done all sorts of different jobs. Got quite a varied background. But this picture on the bottom right, that's actually me getting the freedom of the City of London. So I'm a member of the company of entrepreneurs in London and work with them on their communication stuff as well. Been doing all sorts of different things. Won several awards. I've got a couple of other businesses, as I said. One's business consultancy and one's digital agency. Work with people in this room on those things. But the wills and wills is my main business and where we work things out. Say my sister, unfortunately, just a family history as well. Unfortunately, my sister died at 47. So these things can happen. She was actually the fit one, which has made me kind of help to change some of my lifestyle and things. But unfortunately, the big C got hold of her, and we didn't have very much warning at all. So definitely recommend anyone over 40s. Just make sure that so essentially the people that we work with. We work with anyone from 20s upwards. Really, you need to be 18 unless you're in the services. You need to be 18 years old to have a will. But definitely, if you get to your 40s and you haven't got a will, please get one in place, or anyone you know that hasn't. Particularly if you own property, have family, have children, or you own your own business, it's time just to make sure that that we get things set. Please don't leave it too late. Quick show of hands on that basis. Who in the room has a will, please? I'm not sharing screens, but if anybody has a will. A couple of people where hands aren't going up, which means we can help. But can I just ask, the people that did your will, have they contacted you in the last 2 years to make sure that everything you put in your will is up to date? We do that automatically. So all of our clients, so which level of service that we do, free of charge. We don't charge for reviews with our will. So if someone gets a will with us, they get a will for life. we strongly recommend that you check things. Legislation changes, the tax bans and things are changing and will continue to change. The way that you kind of plan things, the level of your wealth is going to change, and your relationship with your beneficiaries will change. So you do need to look at things and get it done. We don't charge for reviews, so it's just one of the simple ways that shows that we do things differently. So yeah, so just kind of make sure. So a lot of the people that become our customers because they've already got a will, but they're not getting the service that they know they should have with other people. So we have a free meeting to get going. So there we go. So so I say we do all of that for you. And if you don't have a will, so again, I'm going to skip through this, otherwise I'm going to run out of time. But most people do put things off to another day. We've got lots of different services that we can advise on, and the chat is free anyway. So please don't procrastinate too much. So just to kind of have an idea, so my figures are 2020, which I could probably update to 2021 figures now, which have been released by the National Certificate. One thing that came out last week, just as a cool, do you know what the biggest cause of death in the UK is? For the first time, it's Alzheimer and dementia is actually registered as the biggest cause of death. So last week, last couple of days, that came out as the new thing. So now actually, so COVID is out of the top 5 now for the first time since the pandemic, but dementia and Alzheimer's is number 1, which is a bit different. But yes, 67 million people-ish in the UK. 14.5 million people have wills, which means that an awful lot of people that don't. So it's really quite interesting to see who does or doesn't. So that means there's over 31 million adults in the UK that don't have a will, which is quite weird. This little picture here is the distribution of, you might be able to see there is males and females there, but the females is in slightly light blue. Hopefully you can see that okay. But essentially, that's the age that people pass away, unfortunately. But you see that it really starts to pick up after 40. So if you're unlucky enough that someone dies beforehand, which obviously does happen, we can't do much about that. But from 40 upwards, that's when you want to make sure that everything is in order. So of the key demographics, 45 to 54, 65% haven't written a will, or 62% haven't started to think about it. And those figures are from Canada Life in 2020. Why legacy matters? Yeah, so essentially, getting a will with us should be free. We do charge. I'm not a charity. I don't believe in free wills. Actually, one of the things that I will say, those people, you might have seen lots of adverts on social media for free wills and all of those kind of things. The people that do that will upsell you. I can absolutely guarantee they will not have a business if they're doing free wills. They will make money somewhere. One of the people that do my software for some of our systems, do the software for those people that do wills. Their average upsell rate is pretty good, but the average charge of the will that they come up with is over £1,600. So those people that respond to a free will usually end up paying over £1,600 for their will. So they do get a hard sell because of that. So just to kind of let you know. Thank you, Marie. That's super. So just to kind of give you an idea, we work from a fixed free price list. Our will start from £149, and we don't charge for revisions, as I say. Couple of other things that make us different with regard to solicitors. A lot of people do go to solicitors for a will. They follow your instructions rather than giving you advice. So what I do is I give you options the way that I work. So lots of different things kind of going on there. So I will find out your circumstances and then let you know what's going to be available for you. So that's a repeat slide. So just flick through that. Who do we help? Anyone who's alive, and the families of those that are that are nearly departed, because we do the probate and stuff as well. Ideal client groups for us: parents, grandparents, homeowners, company owners, people that are married. The unmarried couples, absolutely massive. You really, if you know anyone who's not married but is in a long-term relationship, really need to get their will sorted out. People that are divorced or separated, any time of change is the time where we come in. And here are a little splattering of all the things that we can talk about and things that I can provide information on and help. So yes, we do wills, trust, lasting powers of attorney and probate. But all of these other bits and pieces we help with as well. So we give you a full service, and it's all part of the free meeting. So just some of those bits. Ideal referral partners, as we're looking at one end. So accountants, mortgage brokers, insurance companies, estate agents, independent financial advisors, business or personal coaches, anyone that's got a long-term relationship and has got their clients' best things in best interests in mind, which is always a great referral, just to make sure, have you got these things sorted out? Because it helps everything else. There's my contact details, and I don't know if we've got time for questions, but hopefully we're about there. I'll take a breath now.
Wonderful. Perfect. Thank you, Mark. That was perfect timing. Absolutely on the button there with the 10 minutes. We do actually have time for questions. Thank you very much. A whole host of different services you provide there. Very, very interesting. So not just the sort of will writing, it's the advice and other stuff that comes along with it, which obviously adds value to your clients. Really impressive. Thank you very much. So has anybody got a question for Mark? Rachel, thank you. And then Susie.
Mark, mine's not so much a question, but could you put that presentation in the Facebook group, please? Because then we can all access it and have the list of all the extra stuff you do for doing our write up on LinkedIn, please.
Sure, no problem. I'll bounce through that image as well. There's just got the bits and pieces, so you can see what we do to make things a bit different. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Susie.
Again, mine's not actually a question. As many of you know, Mark actually did my mum's will because we've got a complicated situation with my brother living abroad, but also having dementia and being in a home. So a way to actually protect his assets when my mum passes away. And my mum's 85, bless her, and Mark made it so easy to understand and really reassured her. And we know that we are fully protected for my brother. So thank you, Mark. And while I was in the UK, I did get Mum to do your review for you. So you've got 2 reviews on there. I'm gaining a Rio point for hers as well as mine.
And thanks, Susie. That's
Fantastic.
Great working with you.
Fantastic. It's lovely to hear a testimonial there as well. Thank you for sharing that, Susie. Any more questions for Mark? I have a quick one, actually, Mark. What is sort of like the worst case scenario that you've seen for somebody, the biggest consequence of somebody not thinking ahead and putting a will in place? I mean, that might sound a really obvious question, but
No. I mean, there are so many. I mean, I had one person come to me last year. He's had so literally last week he had a cancer diagnosis, got things in place. Really suspicious of absolutely everybody. Putting different stuff in place. He doesn't have any children, so there's no direct lines, and he's still not really sure about kind of what he wants to do with the will. So we're trying to rush something through for him to kind of get a decision, and he doesn't look like he's going to be making a decision. So his asset will end up actually he's got one brother that he hasn't spoken to in 25 years who's like, and they just don't get on, and if he doesn't leave a will, he doesn't want his brother to get anything, but his brother's going to end up getting stuff, or it's going to go to the crown. Also because his family don't get on, actually his mum is actually still alive, and he is he now doesn't talk to his mum either. He's a bit of a weird and wonderful character, but he's the only executor for his mum's will, and her son is going to die before her, and her will's going to fail as well. And she's now, and so she's in her 90s. So yeah, so the kind of the cascade thing. So again, if you're doing a will, don't be the only executor, because if something happens unnecessarily, it can everything can unpick. So it looks like there's two members of the family that are going to die without a will, unfortunately.
Gosh, yeah, that is. I can see the consequence there. Thank you so much, Mark. It is a complex thing, isn't it? And it's great to have somebody like Mark who's not just going to help you with the will, but is going to oversee that bigger picture. Because I think that's really valuable. Actually, you can see the connections and the impact that one thing might have on another, and I think that's really valuable. So thank you very much for sharing that, Mark, and thank you for your questions and your feedback, everybody. I think we can stop recording at this point. Thank you very much, whoever's recording.
The only other thing that I will just say is, obviously I'm not qualified to give all of the advice. Some of that stuff that's on that list is the information, but I work with people like Josh. I work with people like like Anushka and Amy, the other professionals that do the other bits. So yeah, I just get a bit of
Absolutely.
a insight into the financial situation with people, and I refer people on to others if they need help.
Absolutely, and this
manage
is
them well.
it's best service for your client, isn't it? And this is where we've seen some great collaborations in this team as well, where you're working together to get the best for your client.